With me in the studio, Jane Morrice, the former politician who's now a member of the European Economic and Social Committee, and the business consultant Adrian Huston. Jane Morrice, are you surprised that David Cameron has committed to holding this referendum?
Well, it's been in the offing, obviously. Everything's been leading up to this big speech at which he was going to say something important and historic, and this is what it is. I'm surprised because I fear that it is what has been said, him sleepwalking the UK out of the European Union, so I don't think it's a very good thing.
Why would you say that?
Because if you think about it, he's saying, give me the mandate. If I win the election, I go to Europe, I negotiate what I want. What happens if Europe, the other countries, say no? And say, you know, he's like a child going in there and saying, if I don't get what I want, I'm going to leave. The other countries of the European Union might just say, well, there's the door.
Adrian Huston, you used to be pro-European, but I think it's fair now to describe you as being a Eurosceptic. Why have you changed?
Well, basically, I think the overwhelming waste of Europe, I mean, my clients here in business see the vast amounts of wasted money. They see the horrendous regulations. Half of our laws are all coming from Europe, etc. And we've only got to look at things like the European Foreign Service. It's got a different name, but that's what it is. They've got over 100 embassies around the world, costing £400 million a year. Now, France has an embassy in these countries, Britain has an embassy in these countries, Germany has. We don't need a European embassy. We don't need ambassadors to be paid £240,000 a year.
But do you think
it's just too much expense.
Do you think people here understand or are even interested in what you've just been saying?
Well, I think they're interested in money. They know that their taxes are going on propping up this massive, wasteful institution in Europe, and it's just getting more and more expensive. They move 12 times a year between Brussels and Strasbourg, £12 million every time they move. That can't be justified, and that we're all paying for this.
And what would happen to us in Northern Ireland if indeed we were to leave the European Union?
Well, I think the first people you should ask that to is the farmers. Because if you talk about people who do benefit from the European Union, it's the farming community.
Well, actually, Adrian Huston has a farm, which you inherited from your father.
And I would wonder what percentage of the wage of the farmers in Northern Ireland comes from the European Union. A very large percentage. So that's number one. But all others, I mean, the money that's been coming to support peace and reconciliation projects, our trade with the European Union, with the countries of Europe in terms of it's our largest market. If we left, we'd become Norway, and we haven't got the resources of Norway, I'm sorry to say.
So, Adrian Huston, the fact that you're a landowner as such, would that not feature in your thoughts?
No, not at all. There's no doubt that we have a farm, my sisters and I, and it does get a single farm payment, which is ultimately coming from Europe. But Europe costs the UK a lot of money net. We put out to Europe far more than we get back. Farmers could still get grants from the UK, and we would still, as a country, be better off. And that's only assuming farmers have to get grants.
A quick question to each of you, and I'll start with you, Adrian. If we get the referendum, how do you think the UK will vote? In or out?
It will vote out.
And Jane Morrice, what do you think?
I will be doing my best to make sure it doesn't vote out, because I think it'll be a terrible position to be in, and I think it'll be 50-50.
Adrian Huston, Jane Morrice, thank you both.